Welcome to Midweek Momentum, where faith meets everyday life. In just 15 minutes each week, Georgina Verzal shares biblical insights to help you navigate life with intentionality, clarity, and purpose. Take a quick break to recharge your spirit and renew your focus. Let's dive in.
Hi, friends. So today we are breaking free from fear and stepping into bold faith. So does that mean that fear is bad? Not at all. In fact, fear is a natural, God-given emotion designed to protect us. But when it shifts from being our protector to becoming our paralyzer, it prevents us from embracing the incredible plans that God has for our lives. So today, we are going to discover how to overcome these fears and live out the bold faith that we're called to. I want to start by sharing a story that really put fear into perspective for me in my life. Years ago, my husband and I celebrated our wedding anniversary in beautiful New Zealand. Now, during our time in Auckland, some dear friends helped us plan an unforgettable 2-week adventure. Knowing our love for excitement, they suggested a variety of thrilling activities, but one stood out the most to me: bungee jumping off a 154-foot cliff, the highest water touch jump on the North Island. Well, when the suggestion came up, I was ready to politely decline, but before I could, my husband casually remarked, "She won't do it." Excuse me, what? Did he just challenge me? Well, my somewhat healthy competitive spirit kicked in. At least I like to think it's healthy. And before I knew it, I blurted out, "I'm in. Let's do this." Well, needless to say, the days leading up to the jump were filled with sheer terror. Fear completely hijacked my thoughts, and the mental soundtrack in my mind went something like this. Well, what was I thinking? I'm too old. I'm too small. I'm too scared. What if the rope breaks? And by the time we arrived at Taupo Bungee, the stunning view of the Waikato River barely even registered to me because my fear drowned out all that beauty. Waivers were signed, belongings were handed over, and I stood paralyzed, questioning why anyone would pay good money to do this foolish thing. So my husband went first, and he, of course, nailed a flawless jump. But then it was my turn. And as I sat on the platform and they carefully strapped the harness onto my legs and double-checked everything and said the dreaded words, "Stand up and make your way to the edge." Well, every fiber of my being screamed, "Wait, I've changed my mind. Take me back. I'll pay extra even to get out of this." But there was no turning back. I had been dared, so I was committed. Well, I wobbled to the edge. My toes were now hanging off the platform. My heart raced and my mind screamed with doubt. But then I heard it. 3, 2, 1, bungee! And before I could overthink, I leaped headfirst towards the clear water below me. And the moment my feet left the ledge, something incredible happened. The fear evaporated, and it became one of the most exhilarating, most beautiful experiences of my entire life. Now, of course, looking back, I can't believe I was just seconds away from letting fear stop me and missing out on such an amazing experience. But in that split second, I made the bold decision to trust the harness would do what it was designed to do, despite every fearful thought in my mind. And let me tell you, it was so worth it. So why do I share this silly story with you? Because life, much like standing on the edge of that cliff, often confronts us with moments when fear paralyzes us. We hesitate when God calls us to greater things. Let me ask you, what is your response when God nudges you to step out of your comfort zone and trust Him completely? Whether it's in your relationships, your career, church life, parenting, personal habits, or even dreams, what do you do when faced with the call to bold faith? This bold faith that I'm talking about today is that same kind of faith Jesus called Peter to when he said, "Come on, Peter, get out of that boat and walk on water." It's not a cautious, toe-dipping belief, but a fearless, action-driven trust in God. I'm talking about an unreserved surrender and immediate action. That kind of faith that propels you into the abundant life that God has prepared for you. Not a safe, cautious faith that waits for perfect conditions that never even come. That's merely a timid belief that hedges bets by keeping one foot firmly planted in the boat and never going in at all, friends. A bold, fearless faith jumps, trusting that God is who he says he is and will do what he promises to do. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind." See, fear doesn't mean stop. It means evaluate. Bold faith is about using your God-given ability and the Holy Spirit's power to take action, no matter how scared you may feel. What is the role of fear? Fear is meant to be a counselor, not a jailer. Fear becomes harmful when it paralyzes us. Consider the story in Mark 4:35 through 41, where the disciples, remember when they were in the boat with Jesus during a storm, fear made them actually doubt Jesus' care for them, even though he was right there with them in the boat. They cried out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drowned?" Yet Jesus calmed the storm and asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" When fear seeps in, ask yourself, is this fear protecting me or limiting me? Let me give you some scriptures to claim when limiting fears arise. Psalm 56:3 says, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." I want to talk to you a minute about the power of decisions. Friends, ultimately, it is the power of decisions that shapes your destiny. Everything in life begins with a decision, and it's the decision to choose to trust God over fear that will produce radical change in your life and your future. Joshua's leadership is a great example in Joshua 24, when Joshua declared, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." He made a clear decision that shaped the destiny of his people. Let me give you some practical steps to start practicing this bold faith. First, define your outcome. What do you believe God is calling you to? Write it down and be specific. God says, without vision, people perish. Write out your dreams, your vision, and be specific to what you think God is calling you to. Then also align your words with God's truth. Replace your "I can't" with "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." Replace and align your words with God's truth. Then focus on God's promises. Stop focusing on all the what ifs. Instead, focus on God's faithfulness. Find those promises in the Bible that speak to you and focus on those. And then lastly, reframe failure. You know what, friends? If you stumble, see it as an education. Peter's failure to walk on water wasn't the end. Jesus used that experience to strengthen his faith. Action is the key to bold faith. Friends, don't wait for the perfect time. Fearless faith requires action. The Israelites stepping into the Jordan River is a great example found in Joshua 3. Think about it. They had to actually step into the water before God parted it. Action preceded the miracle. Here's something to remember. Not acting often leads to more pain and regret than stepping forward in faith. James 2:17 says, "Faith without works is dead." Now, let me clarify that because there's a lot of talk about this verse, but let me just be clear. We cannot earn our salvation by works. But faith actions that obey God show that our commitment and faith in God is real. Focus on the target. Where focus goes, energy flows. We know this, so fix your eyes on the prize. In Philippians 3:13 and 14, Paul's focus on his heavenly calling kept him moving forward despite adversity. In Proverbs 4:25, it says, "Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you." Friends, God's power is within you. Fear cannot hold you when you rely on the Holy Spirit's strength. Remember David and Goliath in 1 Samuel 17? David wasn't fearless. He simply trusted God's power over Goliath's size and strength. Here's a challenge for you. Write down what you'll gain by stepping into your fear, such as personal growth, meaningful relationships, professional success, spiritual breakthroughs, unforgettable experiences, and freedom from regret. And then write down what will it cost you if you let fear win, such as missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, regret, low confidence, limited financial earnings, missed kingdom impact, and even disobedience to God. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness." Do you hear this? God's power is made perfect in your weakness. So dare to do more and allow God to use your gifts and potential for His purposes. In closing, be encouraged to do it afraid in partnership with the Holy Spirit. Identify one area where fear has been holding you back. Pray about it and take one step of faith this week. Don't wait for the perfect time, as it may never come. Start now. Bold faith doesn't mean the absence of fears, friends. It's trusting God enough to take action despite your fears. So, let me ask you this. If you enjoyed today's episode, let me know by hitting like, clicking subscribe, leaving a comment, and sharing it with someone who needs this message, because your support helps spread encouragement even further. Keep the momentum going. Till next week. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Midweek Momentum with Georgina Verzal. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a moment. Keep your faith strong and your momentum going. See you next week.